Well, there are 6 caves in 2 different valleys, the Lone Valley and the Ach Valley, and these caves are important because they produce the most abundant, richest, and oldest record of early artworks and also musical instruments, along with a whole range of other innovations that are part of the cultural development at the time when modern humans spread across Europe and Neanderthals go extinct. Hence, they're of outstanding universal value and fill the criteria that UNESCO has for World Cultural Heritage status. And over time, especially starting in 1931 with the discoveries of the early artworks from Hohle, it became clear that this was an exceptional area. And with each year, we find new examples of Paleolithic artworks that can be up to 40,000 years old or even a little bit older. And they're typically beautifully formed objects cut with stone tools and made from mammoth ivory, the famous horse and mammoth from Hohle, or the female figurine behind me. These are all examples that date to about 40,000 years old and are the oldest examples of figurative art known anywhere in the world.
Sie ist auch das älteste Abbild eines Menschen mit ihren 40.000 Jahren. Also das ist eine ganz besondere Ausstrahlung, die diese Figur hat. Sie ist auch aus Elfenbein geschnitzt. Sie hat dieses typische Muster für diese Kunstwerke aus der jüngeren Altsteinzeit hier aus Süddeutschland, diese Kerblinien und Kreuzlinien. Sie hat ja keinen Kopf, sie hat eine Aufhängeöse, sie wurde wahrscheinlich so als Amulett getragen und ist deswegen auch an einer ganz bestimmten Person angesiedelt. Also es ist ein individuelles Schmuckstück eigentlich. Also diese Neuerungen, die damals vor 40.000 Jahren entstehen, diese Schmuckstücke, aber auch diese Kunstwerke, figürlichen Kunstwerke, diese Musikinstrumente und alles zusammen zeigt uns, dass der Mensch in dieser Zeit symbolisches Denken oder rituelle Vorstellungen entwickelt hat. Das ist das Besondere und das ist das erste Mal, dass wir das so komplex und in großer Zahl auch haben in einer Region.
I don't know if you ever at some site on, along a river where the animals are kept. It makes a big, or a lake. I'm sure. Corings at Hohle had excavations for 8 years and analysis of finds for several other. Because I came we used to have lunch and live in the Fels house. Also had here at Hohle, not only at Hohenstein-Stadel. And the scientific implications of that were clear immediately. And we can prove that there are more people on the ground. And as these social units became larger and larger, new techniques and new innovations were necessary so that people could live together, coexist, and be happy, and hopefully avoid conflict. And that's the time where we see this really radical shift in symbolic culture, the origins of art, music, and many, many more kinds of innovations. So in a sense, we could view these kinds of innovations as the glue that holds the people together in the larger social units. Neanderthals knew their neighbors through direct contact, eye contact, physical contact. The social groups of modern humans were much larger, and they didn't know each other directly and needed a whole range of symbolic artifacts to hold the people together.
Okay.
Dankeschön.
So, would you be a little more specific? Wie kriegt das Audio? Das klappt mit dieser Entfernung? This black stuff is going to just totally die. in that situation of the want, this is so different than that. And if we hadn't seen it before, it wouldn't be clear what's going on. And I'm
muss die Frage quasi in deine Antwort integrieren.
Ja, ja,
Weil
okay.
die Fragen waren hinterher
And so I think it's important to stress that life was different in the sense that people used different tools, people did different things. But we can be sure that 40,000 years ago in this part of the world, in the upper reaches of the Danube, that people were just as smart and just as creative as we are. One way of looking at it is you could take someone from Vogelherd or Hohle and bring them to Munich or New York or wherever it happened to be, and they'd be fine. They'd have to learn the local language, they'd have to learn how to use an iPhone or drive a car, but they could do it. The exciting thing is, if you imagine going back 70 or 80,000 years and living with Neanderthals, I think there's good reasons to believe life would have been different, and particularly in the realm of symbolic communication, language, art, music. It seems that Neanderthals practice these forms of communication in very rudimentary ways or very different ways than modern humans.